You trip me up.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever seen her speechless, by the way? I don't think y'all ever have. You're welcome.
First time for everything. Hello, my name is Taisha Beard. Welcome to Legacy Discussions Podcast. I am your host, where we leave legacies and not liabilities. Today we have the Blue Jacket ladies with us, Miss Courtney Dumas and Shannon Street. They are co-owners of Edu 2020, a female-owned educational consulting company that empowers educators across districts and schools to transform teaching and learning. Together, they bring a mix of real-world classroom experience, practicality, and humor to every project, training, and event they host. The goal of their legacy is to give students more options to their future and inspire women everywhere to be fearless in their pursuit of learning for impact. To find out more, here are the ladies of Edu 2020.
We're so excited.
Oh my God. Love the jackets.
It's a vibe. It's a vibe.
Okay, so what's the meaning of the jacket? Because I love the sparkles, by the way.
They just make people smile. Like, we want to bring joy. I think teachers, they have a really hard job.
Yeah.
And so when we walk in a room, and normally when you're going to like a training, it's kind of like, what am I going to learn? This is boring. When you walk in and you see a human disco ball, it levels up the whole vibe. So that's basically the meaning behind it. We just want to bring joy.
Yeah. Well, it brought me joy.
Okay, yeah,
It did.
Good.
And it looks good on camera, by the way.
That's right.
Yes.
So
y'all, for the folks that don't know, Courtney, Shannon, we go way back from kickboxing days. We've done holiday parties together, and I've watched you ladies over the last several years just really evolve in your business. And so I want to talk about first, before we get to Edu 2020, that's just blowing off charts. I see you guys everywhere training educators. Like, that's a big deal. Now, before, you were educators yourselves. Is that correct?
True.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about that. Tell me about that.
I was in the classroom for 10 years. And then when I left the classroom, I wanted to help more teachers. So I became a mentor teacher and then eventually coach. And then I met this crazy person. We trauma bonded. You know about that, the trauma bond situation. And we just decided that we could do this whole training thing, but make it more fun and more practical. And so we decided to start our own company.
Yeah.
We were crazy.
So from educators working in the school system to, like, how did you build out this whole plan of we're coming and doing this ourselves, and how did you get the curriculum? Like, talk about that process for me.
Well, I think it was a pretty easy transition, knowing what teachers need. I think the further you get from the classroom, the less relevant you are. So coming straight out of the classroom or straight out of the coaching role, it was a pretty easy transition because we knew the curriculum, we knew the content. And so it just made it a little bit easier for us to get out and start our own thing.
Yeah, I mean, we transitioned from the classroom and we're able to do a little State Department work and a little networking, and then just really realized there were certain parts of it that we loved to help teachers with. And bring that excitement, the joy. We wanted professional learning and development to be what we needed it to be when we were in the classroom. And we just decided one day, let's just believe in ourselves and do it. And let's just see where it takes us. We didn't have a massive business plan at first. We just said, let's just go live in the joy and the excitement of teaching and learning. Yeah. And we do believe we have some skills, and let's just see where it takes us.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it just took off
and
has been growing ever since.
Wild. Yeah. But I think I want to go back to, because I kind of want to talk about why.
Yeah.
So you mentioned, how do we do it? I really want to talk about why.
Please.
So I would like Shannon to share, where'd you come from and how did education play a role in your whole life story?
Yeah, I grew up extremely poor. My family didn't have a lot of resources, but they always believed in education. And it must have been something they ingrained into me, but I knew education was my way out. And I've always been a voracious learner. I just wanted to learn about everything. And I always wanted to be a writer too. So interestingly enough, as this whole thing evolved and education and teaching and then working beyond the classroom, we ended up writing a book together too about curriculum implementation. What? Yeah, we wrote a book together. Yeah, there's 3 of us who wrote a book, and it's all about things that we've seen and experienced with curriculum implementation and the right moves that we've seen that work the best with implementing new curriculum because that's hard too. But again, education was the way out. And if I would have asked my 8-year-old self if I was going to be here today and the things and the life that I have today, I would have thought there was no way.
Really?
But it's a miracle how it worked out.
Yeah.
But I have a question for you.
Oh God.
What's your origin story? How did you get involved
What's
in this?
my origin story? Well, growing up, I had a sister who had trouble learning. She was ADHD, dyslexic, and we went to private school. I don't tell many people that. That's between me, you, and the wall.
Oh
Okay?
no,
Yeah.
we know now. It's out there.
I went to private school, and private school doesn't have the same accommodations for the public schools for students. And so I watched my mom struggle to get through to my sister. She would read her stories into a tape recorder. That's how old I am. I'm dating myself now. She would read her stories into a tape recorder, and my sister would play them over and over, and I would pick up on all the spelling words, all the stories, and my sister would know all of the things, get to the test, and fail. And so I kept seeing the system failing her, and I wanted to help my mom, and I wanted to help my sister. And so that's how I ended up becoming a teacher.
Yeah.
And then eventually, once you become a teacher and you start seeing all of the things that go into teaching and how hard it is,
Yeah.
when you find ways to bring solutions to teachers, like that is gold, because that means if you're going to help teachers, you're going to help students. And so that's kind of how I started teaching. And I like to think about when we go in those classrooms, when we support those teachers, I'm impacting kids that were like my sister.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I am where I am now.
Yeah. So when you say that, like the school system or maybe, the teachers were lacking certain things, like what would be some of those things that they were lacking that your program helps with?
I think believing kids can.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody learns differently, but everybody can learn. And Shannon has a great quote that she always says: below grade level readers doesn't mean below grade level thinkers. And so just empowering educators to flip from a deficit mindset about kids to an asset mindset. What can kids do instead of what they can't do?
Yeah.
We work to inspire teachers to change their mindset about things. If kids can't access this difficult reading text, how can we help them to access it instead of, oh, well, we'll just give them an easier text? Because that's not equitable. We need our kids all being challenged to meet the level that they need to meet. And we don't want to give it to them easier because it's harder for us to reach them. We've got to find ways to reach them. It's on us.
Yeah.
And we always go back to, even though we talk a lot about curriculum, we know the curriculum doesn't teach kids. It's always the teachers who teach kids. So part of the legacy that's important in our business is that we want to leave teachers with solutions.
Yeah.
What is the next easiest step? And it doesn't have to be a massive manual. It can be those small steps that make a massive impact on student learning, and then help teachers feel relief, because there's so much on a teacher. We experienced it. We've been part of those systems that just put more and more on and never takes anything off. And how do we reach all kids? Because it's a noble job, but it's a big job.
It's a big job.
So we're all about the practicality and what can we do that makes a massive difference with just 1 or 2 steps.
Yeah. So your program is not to teach the children, it's to teach the teachers how to teach the children.
And sometimes that means that we go into classrooms and we model lessons for teachers so they could see what it looks like in person and in action.
Yeah.
A lot of their trainings talk around the materials they're using, so we will model for them how to do that with kids or just with other adults.
Yeah.
So we really get in there and do all the things. But our favorite days are when we get to teach the kids.
Yeah. So is it something that a teacher has to sign up for? Or is it like you go into the school system and say, hey, here's what's missing, here's what we can help with, here's a solution, and they buy into it?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's all of the above. So we do different things. We coach teachers, we coach coaches. A lot of times the school district will contract with us and bring us in, and we will do some, they call them walkthroughs or learning walks. We walk in the classrooms and we just kind of see how are kids engaging with the teacher, and then we give them some practical next steps. Not things that are unattainable, but let's just change one data piece tomorrow, and how does that impact kids? So we'll go in, and sometimes we lead trainings based on that need, and sometimes we empower their leaders to lead that training. So it varies by school district. We also do events, though, and we cut up real. I know that's very shocking to you.
No, it's not at all.
We do some events, and we have a good time, because learning should be fun. If we want kids to have fun in classrooms, we should let teachers have fun. If teachers are happy, kids will be happy. And I want to turn the script on you, and I want to ask you a question.
Oh gosh. Okay.
So get ready. Put your thinking cap on.
All right.
I want to know.
Oh, is it going to be a math problem or something?
Heck no.
Okay,
no.
I was going to
No,
say,
that
give
is
me
one
some
thing-
paper and pen here.
That is one thing
Or
you can
chat.
confidently know that I will not ask you to do because I probably don't know the answer myself. And I
Okay.
took my phone away for this interview, so I can't use my calculator.
Okay.
My question to you is, I want you to think and tell us, who was your favorite teacher and why?
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God. Okay, I'm going to have to think about that.
Okay.
Oh my God. You know what?
I love making you speechless.
Very. Like, because you know what? It's a question that I don't think I've ever been asked that question.
Really?
I don't think I've ever been asked that question. And I'll be honest with you. Here's partially why. I had a great childhood,
Mhm.
but education wasn't as important
Mhm.
to me at that
Mhm.
that time in my
That's right.
life
Mhm.
as it is now.
Right.
I think when I got to college is really when I said, "Oh crap, I should have paid attention."
So what about now? Think about your favorite speaker, because y'all, we're constantly
Oh my God.
learning, right? You're constantly, you
Yeah.
go to all these events, and I
I
know
do.
you speak, but how do you learn best? What
Yeah.
are your favorite speakers, and what makes them so great?
Yeah. You know, I think the ones that are just fully transparent. Like, don't give me just the good. Give me the bad, the ugly. Tell me it's going to be challenging. Don't make it seem like, oh, you study this and you're going to be fine. No, tell me you're going to have to study. You're going to have to do this. You're going to have to wake up in the morning and refresh it. Like, I want to know.
Yeah.
Don't leave anything out.
Yeah.
Tell me exactly what it's going to take, because then I'm prepared for it. But if you tell me it's going to be easy and when I get to it, it's hard, I'm done. I'm out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I need honesty. I need integrity. I need somebody that's going to be patient with me.
And you need someone you trust, right?
I
We don't
need to
learn from
trust
people we
them.
don't trust. And if you're not
Need to trust them.
transparent,
Yeah.
there's no trust there.
Yeah.
So just teaching teachers that you don't have to know all the answers.
Yeah.
A lot of times the lessons come from the kids.
Yeah.
And so just letting teachers know, like, this stuff is hard. This teaching is rocket science.
Yeah.
If you think about it, there are so many
So
components,
hard.
so many variables that
Yeah.
we cannot control. But when we have those kids for the 6 hours a day,
Yeah.
that's our chance to make an impact. And we need to let them know that it's not always going to be easy, but when we get to a problem, how do we problem solve? How do we teach them to think through that problem if they
Yeah.
can't read a text or if they can't do a math problem?
Right.
And that's part of what we do when we go in and teach them. We say, look, we see these issues, but we don't just stop with the problem.
Yeah.
We bring them solutions, because a lot of times we can find problems real easily. You look,
Yeah.
you find what you see, what you look
Everywhere.
for, right?
Yeah.
And so it's so important that even if we are truthful and we're honest, it's like, okay, we acknowledge this. It's hard. However, think about this. Try this solution.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's really important. But I asked you about your favorite teacher, because people usually,
Yeah.
you trip me up.
Yeah.
Have y'all ever seen her speechless, by the way? I don't think y'all ever have. You're welcome.
First time for everything.
Usually someone can remember, even if it's not a teacher, a lesson,
Yeah.
because learning is an experience. And I know when we sat in teacher trainings,
Yeah.
I was the kid in the back row, and I was like, what are you going to teach me? I was the
Yeah.
worst learner ever.
Really?
And I
Was
think
it
that-
because you were just you understood the information and you wanted to see if the teacher knew it? Like,
Kind
what
of,
was it?
Kind
yeah.
of. Because a lot of times the person in front of the room is supposed to have all the information.
Yeah.
And so when somebody would be up there, I'd be like, oh gosh, they're just going to act like they know everything. Can you train me on? And so a lot of times when I go into our trainings, I'm like, I used to be you. See back corner people?
Yeah.
That was me. And again, we make this learning for teachers what we wished it would have been for us.
Yeah.
And number one is it being fun. And number two is practical,
Yeah.
but we're real about it.
Yeah.
So that's why I just wanted to pick your brain. And
Yeah.
see,
But like that really took me to several different places, because one, I thought about the school system that I was in, because I didn't go to a private school. I went to a public school. I went to Orleans Parish Public
Okay.
School, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, statistically, the results are there, right? It's not
Right.
the best school system. And it was more of, hey, we need the numbers, we need the grades, so let's just get them out the way. And I felt a lot of that. I wasn't challenged a lot.
And that's part of the problem.
Yeah.
A lot of times when kids live in a certain area or look a certain way,
Yeah.
teachers believe these kids can't.
Yeah.
And we go in there and we're like, hey, I need you to think about this. Think about it this way. It doesn't matter. The brain is the same no matter what, right? Now we learn differently. We might approach things differently.
Right.
But the brain can still grow. Like, we can still learn. We're always learning. And a lot of it is mindset.
Yep.
And so if it was all about numbers, like, we got a problem there because kids aren't numbers.
Right.
And that's why even when we do coach teachers, we collect data, but what we do is we give the data to teachers so they can understand and reflect on what they do.
Yeah.
But we never try to change the teacher.
Yeah.
What are we always trying to change?
We're always trying to change the data.
And the
not
data
the teacher.
impacts the kids. So
Yeah.
if we go into a classroom, I know this is real nerdy stuff.
No, I'm
But
listening because
if
this
we-
is important. Look, I got 2 kids. I need to know this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, a lot of times, like, think old school. Again, I'm dating myself, but when we were in the classroom, teacher would ask a question, 3 hands go up, call on little Johnny, little Susie. Great job, let's move on. Well, in reality, who all had to actually think about that lesson or that question? Little Johnny and little Susie.
Right.
When every child in that classroom could think about the answer to that question.
Yeah.
So we would come out and we'll tell teachers, hey, 3 out of, let's say, 21 kids got to engage in the thinking. How can we change that number in the next class period?
Yeah.
How can we make sure all kids are learning? Because we're supposed to be giving all kids an opportunity.
Yeah.
And when we just call in a few kids, that's not going to be a challenge for all the kids.
Yeah.
We want everyone to be seen.
But
So
again,
how do you do that?
Yeah. Well, it's like she said, changing that data in the very next lesson. She can enact one move that will change the game. Let all kids talk and then let them discuss. That way you have 100% of the kids answering, talking, doing the thinking. And that's not some big life-changing event that you're asking. For a classroom change, that's just one immediate next step. And Courtney is always so great about going back to impact, because she thinks about all the students. We'll be riding through a town after we do a teacher training, and there's a bus full of kids that go by, and she was like, hey, we trained their teachers today. We got to impact every single one of those kids on that bus today. And who is that? That's our community. That's our tomorrow's community. So if we
Future
can
leaders.
improve, right?
Yeah.
And if we can improve that experience for those kids in that community,
Yeah.
we've just impacted an entire community.
Yeah.
And that's legacy to us. And that's why we feel like our job is so important, because teaching, again, it's such a hard job.
Yeah.
And if we can make teachers feel positive and feel good about it and feel successful in it and see results, we can have an impact on an entire community. So that's why we came out of the classroom, because the classroom is the most noble place to be. But we wanted to leave a legacy and an impact that goes broader than just one small classroom.
Man.
And
There's a
it
reason
lights
why.
us up every day. We get
Yeah.
so excited.
We get
Yeah.
nerdy when we talk. I mean,
Yeah.
I could go down some rabbit holes, but we were talking about this earlier. There's a reason. I mean, think about when people decide where to live. They're going to look at the schools.
Yeah,
That's
of
usually one of the
course.
first things that they look at.
100%.
And there's a
Yeah.
reason why the politician's favorite battleground is the classroom, because it impacts everyone. Everyone has some kind of connection to that classroom. And that's what we have to be investing in our teachers,
Yeah.
because they are creating the future leaders. They are building that community.
Yeah.
Your community is only as strong as your teachers in your schools.
Right.
And people don't realize the reach and the impact that teachers have. We've got to invest in our teachers.
100%. I think about that all the time, like professors. I'm in the master's program. I was just talking to another guest, like 20 years later, I decided to go back
That's
and
amazing.
20 years later,
That's amazing.
because education is important to me now.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And again, as I mentioned before, it wasn't, but then I quickly realized, like, if I'm really going to do something with myself and be an impact to other people, I got to get educated on certain things.
Yeah.
And so, the teacher that is training us right now on like business management and entrepreneurship and all, first thing I'm thinking is, why aren't you an entrepreneur? Like, you're teaching me everything that I need to go and be an entrepreneur or, be a business leader and all these things, but you're teaching.
Yep. That's part of kind of where we go with our training. I'm not going to ask a teacher to do anything I haven't done myself first.
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing should be the same thing for the kids. I always use the analogy. I ask a room full of teachers. I'm like, hey, everyone who's ever been to Paris, raise your hand. There'll be like 3 people. And I'll say, okay. And I'll point to one that has never been to Paris that didn't raise their hand. And I'll say, hey, would you like that person to give you a tour of Paris? And they're like, no, they've never been there. And I'm like, exactly. You can't take kids somewhere that you haven't been before. And so if you're going to lead that learning, you got to go first.
Yes.
And we don't step in front of a crowd and ask teachers to do anything we haven't done ourselves. We read every single book that we train on.
Yeah.
We have done every single assessment that we train on because we have to go first. If you're going to speak knowledgeably about something, and be a leader,
Yeah.
you need to go first. Leaders go first. I know a lot of times
Yeah.
you hear it, they go last.
Yeah.
But when it comes to learning, they go first.
Yeah.
It's messy.
I
But
love
that's what
that.
leadership is, right?
I love that. Yes, exactly. Exactly. And I think that builds the trust too. When you can say, hey,
Builds
been there,
trust.
done that.
Builds trust.
Then they're like, oh, well, you can tell me all about it. But
Yep.
if you haven't been there, then you're reading a textbook just like I am. We can figure
Exactly.
this out. Like I could probably help you read this textbook and tell you what needs to happen. But until you've done it and know everything, the good and the bad, that
Yeah.
all the challenges and the loopholes, all that stuff, then you really can't effectively teach someone. Or are you really gaining that person's trust? Are they questioning what you're telling them?
Right.
And I mean,
Yeah.
again, I want to go back to like your favorite speakers. Tell me what
Yeah.
attributes your favorite speakers have, since you go to all these events all the time.
I love going, girl.
It's so fun.
So they are educated.
Okay.
And they have mastered whatever they're teaching me. Like I don't go to the people that are just kind of getting started out. Like I want to see proof. Show me the receipts. Show me that you've done it.
Nice.
I want to be able to physically see it. I want to hear about it, and I want to know step by step how to do it, how to get to that level where you are. So I would say somebody that's educated, somebody that can fully explain exactly everything that I need to know about this particular subject or topic. Honestly, somebody that has a passion for God.
Okay.
Because I'm married and have children, and somebody that understands what that work-life balance looks like, I think all of that matters.
Yeah.
Like I need to see myself in whoever that is, be it even a man, woman, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I need to see my life in that person where I can say, okay, you get it. You understand.
Yeah.
You have
Absolutely.
kids. You get it. You're married. You get it.
Yeah.
I need to be able to see that.
Well, there's an element too, like if you think about when you're speaking, and this is what we have to think about all the time, is people like they appreciate new information, they appreciate learning, but there's an element of storytelling that has to come out as well.
Yeah.
So if you haven't lived that, you can't tell that story, and people can't see themselves in you. And that's another thing that go wrong when people get in front of people to have conversations or to lead learning. They forget the storytelling.
Yeah.
People want to be part of the story.
Yeah.
Everyone has a story. So we try to make sure we tell the stories of when we were in the classroom. Usually we tell the ones that we've messed up because nobody wants to hear somebody who's like, well, when I was in there, I did this and it was great.
Yeah.
No, we tell them about when we've completely,
Whatever's messy.
Yeah.
like I make the joke
Yeah.
that I don't know how my first students are functioning citizens of society right now because I
Yeah.
did not know the right way to do things. But we tell stories, and those are some of the best speakers because not only can they give you the information about what they've learned, but they tell the story behind it, and you connect to the story because people in the audience want to know, like, you've lived my life, and you made it out, and you figured it out, so maybe there's some hope for me.
Right.
And that goes back to your faith too, right? Hope is everything, and I like to believe that we're hope dealers.
Yeah.
When we go in, it's true.
You dealing hope?
Yeah, I'm dealing hope.
Always, as much as we can.
When you go into a room full of people and teachers, they need hope.
Yeah.
Things are looking pretty like grim. You know, we can't save everybody. We know that, but we can make a difference in some way every single day.
Yeah.
And teachers are hope dealers. And if you're not feeling about like dealing hope, your whole classroom has a whole different vibe to it.
Yeah.
And we need to realize how important and how big of a privilege it is to do what we do as educators.
Yeah.
And we don't take our job lightly. We have fun, but we don't take it lightly.
Right.
We
Yeah.
know it's a big deal.
Yeah. Do you feel like the weight of the education system is on your shoulders?
I feel like we have a big role in it.
Yeah.
And now, and like if you look behind the business side, behind the doors of the company right now, like even the part about expansion, we were nervous about expanding, adding on employees. We're like, oh my goodness, what does this mean? But when we realized it's the reach, and if we're bringing people solutions and relief, and we're getting the feedback that this is exactly what I needed, this is exactly what I wanted to help me be a better teacher, we did feel that weight and that pressure because we are fast learners and we are hope dealers. That's a new one. We're
like
going to have to talk about that
Yeah.
a little more, but we do bring hope and we do
Yeah.
bring solutions. And I do feel like it is important, and not necessarily that it's on our shoulders, but it's a part of the weight that we carry.
Yeah.
It's a part of the legacy that we're going to leave. And I hope that we're always known for that. And good leaders build good leaders.
Amen to that.
And so
Yep.
if we're going to be good leaders, we feel like we have a responsibility that if there are other people who've come to us and express, we want to grow too. We
Yeah.
want to step into that leadership role, and yeah, we do have a responsibility to do that.
Yeah.
Because some teachers are meant to go beyond the classroom and take that reach broader. So I do feel like we have a role in that.
Absolutely. I don't know if the weight of the world is on us necessarily, but the fact that whole entire school districts, we're talking, I mean, like think about Jefferson Parish, right?
Yeah.
How many kids are in that parish? That
Oh,
is
Wow.
how many households are impacted. And I mean,
Yeah.
we've trained with Jefferson before, but like even the small school districts, the majority of school districts, 97% of them are small school districts, believe it
Yeah.
or not. But every single person could name someone in their life that has someone in the school system.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big reach, and we don't realize it every day. We think, oh, we're just going to work, but when it comes down to it, and you look out and you see that every person in your session at least impacts, let's say, 25 kids a day.
Wow.
That's 25 households.
Wow.
That's a big
Yeah.
privilege.
Hey, multipliers, it's Taisha Beard inviting you to the Legacy Summit 2026. It's going to be April 25th of next year at the Gonzalez Pace Center in Gonzales, Louisiana. If you've been to the Legacy Summit 2025, this one is going to be next level. We have a tax strategist that's going to teach us for 2 hours how to save hundreds of thousands of dollars that I have in my taxes for having real estate. And then we're also going to have an AI professional there that's going to tell you how to scale your business and use AI for efficiency. We have a panelist of women developers, and there's going to be so much more. So now is your time to get your early bird tickets at www.mylegacysummit.com. Early bird tickets are on sale through October 30th. After that, you can still go to mylegacysummit.com to get your general admissions or VIP tickets. If you are a sponsor and would like to sponsor us, there's packages for sponsors. And if you want to be a vendor at the summit, also go to mylegacysummit.com to get all your information about becoming a vendor.
And
Yeah.
you think about when your kids have come home, sitting around the dinner table, and you're talking about that day and something that stood out to them. How did they feel at school that day?
Yeah.
What experiences did they have? And when their faces light up, it makes you light up. When they come
Yes.
home talking about supply and demands like your kid did in the second grade, and you're like, what is happening?
Yeah.
And they're so excited about something.
Yeah.
If we can spread that joy and that excitement and motivation and the knowledge and skills needed to get it to the kids,
Yeah.
that's a big deal to us. We drive by the street at night at dinner time, and you see, the lights on in the houses, and it's about to be dinner. And how do you want your kids to come home and feel?
Yeah.
And how do you want your kids to think critically in this world? Because that's a big job. We've got AI right now. We've got so many things happening faster. We don't know what jobs are going to exist in the next several years, but are we preparing our kids to think critically
Yeah.
and to be able to adapt? And we don't want to just be a delivery information system.
Yeah.
We want to get them to really think, and that's part of what our big mission is to help teachers help their kids think critically.
Yeah.
And then feel good about what they're learning and
Yeah.
where they're at all day.
Nobody
Yeah.
wants to learn from somebody who is not excited about things.
100%. And I was going to ask that question. So that brings up my next question. As you're meeting these different teachers, do you feel that they are just there to collect a paycheck, or are they really passionate about what it is that they're doing? They just need some help.
I think that we have never met a teacher who wanted to do wrong by kids.
Yeah.
Nope.
I think
Not
that
once.
certain things that you encounter dim your light, and you
Yeah.
got to be reminded sometimes of why you do what you do, but also that, yes, there are problems. We have some broken systems. I don't know if you knew about that.
I wasn't aware, but
broken systems in America. But again, if we just stop there, if we quit there, we're going to have bigger problems.
Yeah.
And so we get, let's say, 3 to 6 hours a day with these teachers. We want to make sure they feel seen, they feel heard, and that they feel like we're bringing them some relief.
Yeah.
So I don't think teachers feel that way. I mean, you always have those teachers who are close to retirement. They're like 2 more years, but I still think that they show up and they show out for kids every day. It's just that it's hard work.
Yeah.
And it's thankless work sometimes. It is rewarding, but it's really, really difficult because you're up against a lot.
Yeah.
And so did I answer that?
Even the grumpiest
Yes.
teacher that I've ever had in a professional development session, usually there's something at the cause of it,
Yeah.
the root of it, that has caused their light to be dimmed, or they have felt beaten down enough that they don't see the point or the light. But our mission is by the time you leave today, you're going to be able to take one thing away from you
Yeah.
that will change your practice tomorrow. And we might not can reach every single 100% of people, but the majority of them, that's our mission to try.
Yeah.
And Courtney's going to follow them around until they're going to articulate and at least smile and say what they can do differently in the very next lesson
Yeah.
for kids, because we always try to bring it back. This is the kids, the kid. It's
Yeah.
the kid. It's the student. This is the community that we're impacting, and I think we are making a difference.
Yeah.
Hope we are.
I love that. I love that. So when you're talking to these teachers, I mean, do you ever get into conversations where it goes beyond the education part of it? Because you don't know what these kids are dealing with at home. And those teachers have to deal with that. That could also be
Absolutely.
contributing to, maybe the negative results in their performance. So talk about that. What are you guys hearing
Well,
about that?
Oh, I mean, we become friends with the people that are in our audience a lot of the times, and they do tell us stories. And there are lots of sad stories, but the coolest thing is a lot of the times when we do talk to these teachers, they tell us the happy stories. We
Good.
get to hear about the kids that they'll come back, even because we do recurring trainings. So when we come back, they will come and be like, I tried this and with so and so, and it was a totally different kid. And you're just like, this is why we do what we
Yeah.
do. So they don't complain as much as you would think.
Yeah.
They carry that. I know they carry it, but a lot of the stories we hear are stories of change and excitement. I was in a school last week. I was doing walkthroughs for a different subject, and this teacher ran out of her door and she was like, "Oh my God, it's sticky note girl!" And I'm like, "What?" She was like, "You told me to use my sticky notes, and now all my kids are sticky noting everything. I can see what they're thinking." And I was like, "Oh yay!"
Yeah.
It's little moments like that that connect us, that keep us connected. Because it's hard when you leave the classroom. You don't get to see the light bulbs going off in those little heads
Right.
anymore. That's the fun stuff. But when you get to see it with adults, it's even better because adults are harder. The teachers are the hardest students.
Yeah.
And so when we do get to make those personal connections and talk to them outside of training, a lot of times it's happy stories.
It is. But I'm going to take us back to the storytelling and the narratives that you brought up in the beginning. Sometimes when the teachers are having to deal with that outside influence and what might be going on at home or what might be going on in the community, we bring back in our stories. And because we've got some stories.
Yeah.
I taught in a very, very rural area where it was 82% free and reduced lunch. And some of my students didn't have electricity or running water. I didn't have electricity or running water sometimes when I grew up. Sometimes we were eating government cheese, which we thought was fabulous, by the way.
I mean,
those
that
we
sounds
got
like
really
fire.
excited about it.
Good grilled
But-
cheese sandwich, right?
Amen.
But we try to use the stories of the possibilities and what can be, and you're sowing seeds for the future that you don't even know.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got some stories.
I know. You've met Derek before. Derek was
Have I
one of
met
mine.
Derek?
You have. He came to my birthday party. You were there.
Okay.
Derek, I had Derek in 3rd and 4th grade. He had something like
Yes.
Yeah.
I met Derek. Yes,
Yes.
yes.
He had like 34 accommodations. When he came to me, they told me that he had his own paraprofessional because I don't even know if I can legally say this. Maybe I shouldn't. He couldn't sit in his desk. So Derek was one of my students that I had in 3rd and 4th grade, and he literally could not sit in his desk. He was just so hyperactive. And his mother, I stayed in touch with him. We took him to Disney World. We made him earn a trip. It was a whole thing. But his mother told me when he was in 10th grade, she said, I don't want him to drop out like I did. And when I tell you, when Derek walked across that stage at East Ascension High School, and he was surrounded by his family because it was a massive accomplishment when he graduated high school. When I walked up, he was like, hold up, move. And he's like parting the Red Sea, and he was like, come on, Miss Dumas. And he brought me in like a bear hug.
man.
And now Derek is at a big boy job. He's part of the Gonzales Police Department now.
Yeah.
And he helps make our community better. And there are so many Dereks out there. I know you have so many stories. And teachers, they need to be reminded of those people. A lot of times we do an activity that we tell people, I want you to think of a child. So go ahead, think of a child right now, Taisha.
Okay.
I'm making you
What
think
am
of
I
a
thinking
child.
about this child?
I want you to think about a child that's really important to you.
Yeah.
Okay? I don't know if you have any of those.
I mean, I can
want
name
you-
2 of them off the bat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. So if you could have let's say a limitless budget for their education,
Yeah.
what are some things you would want them to have at their school,
Yeah.
personnel-wise or, I don't know, supply-wise?
Yeah.
if the budget was unlimited?
Oh
What
my
are some things you
God.
would say?
Okay, so it might be a little overkill.
It's okay.
No,
I'm
go
here
but-
for it. Make
Dream
it rain.
big.
Make it
Okay.
rain.
Big.
So I would say reduce the teacher to student ratio.
Okay.
I think there should be no more than 10 kids to one teacher.
All right.
Is that too much? Is that a lot to ask for?
This is dream world.
Okay.
Yeah, this is
All
dream.
right.
We
But
call
is that
whatever you want.
realistic?
We
Is that
call this
realistic?
dream school. We call it the dream school activity. It's
Okay.
not unrealistic.
Okay.
Sky's the limit. Keep going.
Okay. I would want healthier food options.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm here for that.
I would want an opportunity to break in the middle so that kid can do something creative. I'm not talking about like coloring. I'm talking about what I don't care if it's going outside and plant a garden, whatever it is. I want that kid to be able to be creative in their own space and do what it is that they want to do for those 30 minutes or whatever it is. I would also like to see more real life. Oh my God. Real life lesson plans.
Okay.
Connect
Like-
you to the real world.
Co-
What they're going to be doing.
I'm talking finances,
Yes.
Yes.
credit,
Yeah.
banking, entrepreneurship. I like some of the stuff that we learn.
Mm-hmm.
Love it. And if you're going in a particular career, then it's needed.
Absolutely.
It's not needed for what I do.
So,
Teach me what I need to
Yeah.
know in real world cases.
and again, I think one of the things we overlook that you kind of mentioned is the skill of communication,
Yeah.
right? But even if you listed 5 million things, you want them to have like a garden, break time, the best computers, the best technology, podcast rooms, things like
Yeah.
that. What happens if they had all of that, but they had really, really unhappy, miserable teachers?
Then they would be unhappy.
None
and
of that would
miserable.
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
None of that would work
Yeah.
without the teachers.
Yeah.
And so we can invest in all of the laptops in the world. We can invest in the best curriculums in the world.
Mm.
But if we don't invest in our teachers, then the kids are never going to have that experience. And maybe they might not love to love learning until later in life, like you did.
Yeah.
And you had opportunities to do that. Not all of our students do.
Right.
My students' parents, they still to this day won't go to the school because of the experience they had when they were at school.
Really?
Yes. Will
With-
not
with
come
the
to parent-teacher
teachers?
conferences.
They will not because
Really?
it's such a negative experience
Yeah.
with teachers. And so we want to make sure that we are building up our teachers. That's why our job is so important. And that's
Yeah.
why we do what we do, because you can have the greatest facilities and materials in the world. But if you don't have teachers who are excited about coming and enthusiastic and knowledgeable about what they're teaching,
Yeah.
our schools are
Doesn't
not going to make it.
Wow.
It's just not going to
Yeah.
work.
Wow. That's like having all the ingredients to a cake,
Yep.
but nobody ever teaches you how to bake the cake. So
Exactly.
it just sits there
Exactly.
because you don't have that right person to say, hey, here's what you do first. Here's the
Right.
next step. Let's do it together.
Right.
I mean, as much as I love to lick the bowl,
Yeah.
it still ain't going to make a cake.
Finger in there. Yeah.
Exactly.
But you're right. It's not going to make itself, right? Somebody has to
Mhm.
kind of train that person to do it, and that person has to be happy. I think that's why it's so important. Like when people go to school to be a teacher or want to be a teacher, like it has to be something that you love. I think whatever you do that you're passionate about and that you love, and that I call it what you're built for, like what God created you to do.
Yes.
I think God created everybody to do that special thing that only they can do it their way.
Oh, that's so good.
And once you find out what that thing is and you start aligning your life with that thing, you become the greatest. Like what you guys are doing right now, like it wasn't a coincidence you had to go through that as a child. It wasn't a coincidence that you had to go through that with your sister. And it wasn't a coincidence that you all got into the education system. Like all of that was made available and you went through that to get you to this point to be able to go back and say, I know my mission.
100%.
I know why God created me. And this is what I have to do. And I say the same thing for teachers. Like there are some people that maybe aren't designed to do what you do. They're designed to be in a classroom
Yeah.
and to teach the kids, right? They got to love that. And so I hope, and maybe you guys tell me, but as you're meeting these teachers, do they really have a passion for what it is that they're doing? Or is it just, it's good money, good benefits,
Yeah.
you know?
Definitely,
Seriously, I want to
think-
know that because sometimes it feels that way. Like
Yeah.
thinking back now, like you guys are causing me to go back to like middle
Uh-huh.
school and all that stuff.
Right.
And it seemed like a lot of the teachers, not that they weren't caring for children, right? But it was more like, it was just, what time is it? Oh yeah, we got like 2 hours. Let's just finish this off and let's get out of here.
Yeah.
And it felt like they weren't happy with what they were doing. And maybe they were out of alignment with what they were supposed to be doing. Maybe they were supposed to be an educator, but just maybe not in the school system.
Mm.
That's a
You
very
know?
real possibility.
Yeah.
Very real possibility. I recently heard of a former teacher who ended up becoming an attorney. Like total change life path. And I think that that is absolutely right. When you're not in alignment with who you are,
Yeah.
it shows up in your daily work.
Yeah.
And we do see evidence of that where somebody is unhappy, and it's not just the system. It's not just the routine of what they have to do. It's that there's something more out there for them.
Yeah.
And they haven't just found it yet.
Yeah.
But the majority of the teachers that we work with,
Yeah.
it's definitely not for the paycheck. It's definitely not for
Yeah.
and the hours aren't so short anymore because education has changed a lot.
Yeah.
They're there because deep down there is something meaningful.
It's a calling.
It matters
It's a calling.
to
It's a
them.
calling.
And you have to be gifted in it to be an
Yeah.
effective teacher.
Well, I think that's why when people leave teaching, it's very sad. A lot of times when a teacher it's at a school is not happy, they quit teaching altogether instead of trying a different place.
Yeah.
Because you have to feel called, and some people, they think that if it doesn't fit, exactly, that they weren't meant to be a teacher.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's any teachers out there listening to this right now, just know that you might have found your purpose, but you might not have found your place yet.
Yeah.
And so don't give up, because kids need you. And I really want you to try to find your place, because I want you to keep listening to your purpose. I think had we not listened to our purpose,
Yeah.
I don't think, I mean, she's from Tennessee. I would have never met her before.
Yeah.
And I do think that this friendship and this business partnership has impacted a lot of students
Yeah.
in Louisiana and Tennessee, all over really the nation at this point.
And hopefully a lot of future leaders as
Yeah.
we continue growing and expanding.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Was it easy to move over into this field? Like, was it just, let's go do this tomorrow and it's done?
I mean, as a business leader,
Yeah.
that you have to find a way to get your foot in the door.
Right.
And so everything we did leading up to starting this business was about relationship building.
Yeah.
Which is really key. It's key everywhere, but that's what our kids are missing, and that's why that's another thing we talk about in our trainings is communication and building relationships, because when you're in front of a screen, you're not building relationships. So I think we had a lot of the relationships with the people in school districts, and we leveraged those whenever we decided to start, because they knew us, they trusted us, they knew our style was a little not
Maybe
so
average.
yeah, not your average
Non-traditional.
no, not your average learning. And so I think that made the transition easier. And of course, we knew how to teach.
Yeah.
And I think teachers can do anything. If you look, in the business field, a lot of people look for ex-teachers.
Yeah.
Because think of the amount of things we have to do on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. Think about the
Management
decisions
alone,
made.
right?
Yeah, we went to a conference in New Orleans recently, and the technology wouldn't work, and we were like, "Oh, we'll figure it out." And he's like, "I love when it's a teacher conference, because when it's the scientists conference, they freak out, they melt down.
Yeah.
The teachers are like, well, we're going to find a way, because
Yeah.
teachers do find a way.
Yeah.
They're incredible. So I don't know where I was going with that,
But
but
that's okay. I want to come back to the alignment part, because
Yeah.
I do think that there was just some divine alignment that happened.
Yeah.
That had to happen. We didn't know. It was a massive leap of faith
oh,
to
Yeah.
leave a district, like the possibility of a district. I mean, we'd gone to some other jobs, but then we always had the opportunity to go back to a district, and there feels like safety and security in that. And it was a massive leap of faith.
Yeah.
But
let's talk about Shannon's.
Let's
leap of
talk
faith.
about it.
Okay, all right. So when I call her with this idea, and we're like, look, we can do whatever we want to do. But let's try this. Let's make this jump. Because I'm not a business, like, I am a teacher.
Yeah.
Like, people call and I'm like, hello, and they're like, can I have the billing department? I'm like, hold please, hello. Like, starting a business is scary.
Yeah.
And Shannon, being what she came from, the poverty that she experienced as a child,
Yeah.
starting a
Security.
new business and having that
Yeah.
lack of security,
Yeah.
it's terrifying.
it was
And
a hard no at first.
when I
I said no several
Hang
times.
up.
when
Yep.
I finally
Speak to
got her,
accounting. Yeah.
when I finally got her to agree to come work with me, tell them what you did that night.
I refinanced my car at 7:30 at night, and I was like, oh, okay, fine.
She was so terrified, because
Yeah.
it was a massive leap of faith.
Yeah.
But you don't, I think regret will eat at you more than failure ever will.
Oh my God.
I would have always looked back and wondered what
What
would
if?
have happened if
Yeah.
I hadn't taken that leap of faith.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, I had two phenomenal humans to trust in when we all started the company together.
Yeah.
But what would have happened if I hadn't done it?
Yeah.
And the lives that I wouldn't have impacted now. And, you know, anything can be fixed.
Yeah.
Or anything can be redirected. Or I can learn. It's not a failure. It's I can learn.
It's a
And
lesson
then
in it.
I can take the lesson and
Yeah.
then I can apply it to the next role in life. Because I've been at the very bottom. And
Yeah.
now I'm feeling like, I mean, I can't believe the life that I get to live.
We laugh a
Wow.
lot. I'll look at her and I'll be like, how did we become relevant? How did
Yeah.
we become this relevant? Like, it's funny.
Yeah.
We chuckle because we're just us. And again, we know good teaching, but we have fun. And it's like,
Yeah.
people take us seriously. This is wild.
Right.
Now, we do know what we're talking about, but it just blows our mind every day. And we know that we can't just stop here, though.
Right.
You know, there's still kids out there, there's still teachers out there. And so we've been working on just trying to find ways to expand our reach and do more for teachers and students because complacency is just it's a terrible place to be, and it's almost
Yeah.
as bad as regret.
Yeah.
We got to keep moving. Got to keep moving and shaking. Got to keep dealing hope.
Yeah.
And
So what does
we're
that
not done
next
yet.
level look like for you guys?
Shannon, well, we hired new people, which is wild.
Wow.
Managing people is different than managing little people.
Of course.
I can manage from 33 little sixth graders or fourth graders, but managing 5 adult humans that have feelings, it's different. So one step of that is, you know, building great leaders make great leaders. So building the next generation of our company and expanding our reach. So we are primarily in the South right now, and we want to reach teachers in other states and other regions.
Yeah.
And so freeing us up, we're hiring more people to take on some of the day-to-day roles so we can be able to travel and expand beyond just where we've been thus far.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the next level up that we are aiming to reach. It's just help more kids, help more teachers, help more communities.
Yeah. So if there's a principal or school board system that's watching this episode, what would you tell them? Like, what do you want them to know where they could say, I need to get in contact with Edu 2020?
Go ahead, Shannon.
Well, they can absolutely find us on all the socials. Just look up Edu 2020. And then, of course, our webpage is edu2020.com. You can find us and get in contact with us there. But definitely, I mean, our social media is a little bit of where we have our unprofessional learning too. We put out a lot of professional learning on there, but we have a lot of fun. You'll definitely want to check us out there.
But if I had to send them a message in general, it would be invest in your teachers.
Yeah.
We overlook the good teachers. You know, the news does not capture the best stories
It
from
doesn't.
teachers,
No.
right? We need to find the good ones and invest in them because I don't know about you, but money's important. I don't know if that's
It's very important.
But I have seen teachers stay in school districts where there have been less pay rather than go to the next school district, I don't know, 15 minutes over because they felt valued. So if I had to send a message to leaders in other school districts, it's like, look for your teachers that are doing the right thing and make sure they feel seen and heard and valued, and keep investing in those people because they're the ones that you want to keep.
Yeah.
And we're losing too many good teachers right now because the great ones are not being seen and heard. So invest in your teachers would be my biggest message.
Yeah. I love that. So as you guys continue to make impact and build legacy and evolve out of the South, right? I want you guys to be nationwide because this isn't a South concern, or
No,
it's
absolutely not.
it's a worldwide, right? It spans across oceans and seas.
Absolutely.
So what does legacy mean to you? And I'll start with you first, Courtney.
Oh, me. I can take it
Yes.
first. Legacy means leaving people better than you found them. I know that sounds very cliche, but if you're going to go in somewhere teaching, like speaking, you've got to leave people better than you found them, and everyone has something to learn from somebody else.
Yeah.
And that's another thing we're missing in the world, is that we don't see other people's opinions as a learning opportunity. We see it as a way to put up a wall. And so we've got to know that every person we come in contact with, there's a story there and there's a lesson there, and we can learn from each other. And if I can leave somebody better than I found them, and I know their story or they know my story, and it made our lives a little bit better, then I've left a little bit of a legacy in their world.
How
And
about you,
legacy to me is, what can I do today that can impact somebody's life tomorrow? What solution can I give somebody today, or a way I can make their life a little bit easier that's going to help them live their best selves tomorrow? Doesn't have to be something big, complicated. Doesn't have to be something that costs a lot of money or investment. It's all in how you treat people. It's all in how you value people. You value the expertise they bring, and then you offer them some solutions to try out. And it's not like we're trying to change somebody's mind, change somebody, like you said in the beginning. We don't try to change teachers. We don't try to change school systems. We say, what can we do a little bit differently that will get even greater impact? So, legacy to me is impact that creates bigger impact. It's the investment that is so important to us.
I love that. You mentioned that after you guys finished training, there was a bus of kids that passed by. I think that's going to stick with me. And you said every kid on that bus, we've impacted them because you got to the teacher that's impacting them on their level. I love that. And when you start to think about even just going about your day, how many people are you impacting? Are you missing opportunities to impact people?
Wow.
If you're facing your phone,
Yeah.
you are.
Yeah.
Every interaction with a human is an opportunity to learn something new.
Yeah.
But we don't see it that way. We see it as an inconvenience. Or we're rushing to the next best thing or the next thing we have to get to. We've got to look up and pay attention because we're missing opportunities to connect with humans and to learn.
Yeah. Do you think that COVID changed some of that, like how we communicate with one another?
Absolutely.
So first of all, I do want to say that I respect teachers and I respect what you guys are doing, because in 2020, when I had to become a part-time teacher, I was one of those teachers that didn't like my job. I was that teacher said, I'm not getting paid enough for this. This isn't working.
Amen.
But seriously, like, it is a tough job.
It really is.
And honestly, you want your kid to get it, right? Because I wanted to just, let me show you one time and I expect you to get this. When you have to continuously work with that child and be patient, that's a lot. That's a big job.
Right.
And even as a mother at that time, when I'm trying to help my kids, it was challenging. So I was like, oh my God, I got a lot more respect for teachers because they deal with this. When you think about it, the kids at school, a lot of times more than they are at home.
Yep.
Because when they get home, it's homework or after school activities, dinner, bath, and then you're back at school.
Yes.
And so the teacher spends a lot of time with your child. And it's important that the right person is in front of your child and impacting your child.
Absolutely.
Right? Because they can start to, you asked the question earlier, like, what is that one, who's that one teacher, that impacted you? Like, can that child have that negative experience that you guys mentioned some of those parents have? So we got to make sure that we're educating the teachers and training those teachers to be the best version of themselves when they have those little people looking up to them.
Yeah.
So COVID definitely changed the game for a lot of us.
Yeah.
I think that people understood they had more options for education there. I wish it would have changed the way we think about education, because there are different ways that people can learn and we can think outside. Teachers pivoted so fast. They had to.
Amazingly.
Yeah.
Right? We were in a school on March. It was like a Tuesday, and they're like, oh, we're going to come back in 3 days or something. And then they were out for 6 months.
Yeah.
And so teachers really had to think outside the box. And I wish as a whole, education would continue thinking outside the box, because there are any place can be a classroom if you've got the right ingredients.
Yeah.
And so COVID definitely changed things. I wish that we could continue exploring different ways to have learning experiences.
Yeah.
But I'm just amazed at the fact that how quickly teachers pivoted. Like, my kids' teachers were incredible. In fact, one of them works for me now.
Wow.
She was my kids' teacher during COVID, and she pivoted. She hopped on. She had the Google Classroom, the Zoom meetings, almost, I want to say, in week 1. And now she's my social media manager.
Wow. Amazing.
Yep.
Well, and I do think that it did change one way for the better. I think we're hearing a lot now that people are seeing the importance of connection, the importance of communication and relationships. And I don't think we talk about that enough. I don't know that the emphasis is there, but when you were talking about put the computers down or the screens down, whether it's a phone or a computer, I still think that there's another place we can go in that communication and connection and making students feel part of a community, and the importance of relationships and valuing, respecting similarities and differences. So we've got some room to grow.
Yeah.
We had a lot that changed that made it more challenging, but I think that we're also seeing the importance of needing community.
Yeah.
So we've got some room to grow, though.
Yeah.
Always.
I love it. Well, Courtney, Shannon, thank you both so much. Thank you all for watching another episode of Legacy Discussions. If you didn't know Edu 2020, now you know. we leave legacies and not liabilities. Just make sure to put the screens down, put the phones down, connect with people, make impact, because as we see, children are watching. Talk to you guys next time.